How's everybody doing out there? Just spreading some love and joy and cheer to family, friends, loved ones on this beautiful Tuesday. Just trying to make sure that I am doing what I'm supposed to do and need to do in order to progress in life in all ways. Sometimes I find that it's difficult to maintain a romantic relationship, or start one for that matter, if you're trying to build other things, if you're trying to do other things, build businesses, etc. So if you have a gap in between a relationship and future potential relationships, you might want to take full use of that gap, and instead of running into the next or to the next man or woman, utilize that time to build up some things that you've been wanting to work on. Because to be honest with you, unless you're with even when you're with an extremely like-minded person, relationships also, people say that a good relationship, a real relationship, doesn't require work. That's bullcrap. Work may not be the right term for it, but it definitely requires time. You need to spend time with your loved one, and time is money. That time that you're spending with your romantic other could be utilized to work on other things, other ventures, because I say that a person should be working on maximum 3 different types of business ventures, because you never know which one might take off, and preferably in 3 different types of industries, because you may have talents in all 3 areas, but either one area is just that time, that atmosphere, that environment for that particular business to take off because of the kind of industry that business is in, or it may just work best for you in relation to others, because at the end of the day, you do need other clients, customers, people. You need people. If you're selling merchandise, you need people to buy it. If you are selling media, you need people to watch it, consume it, tune into it. If you are selling a service, you need people to partake, actually want to purchase that service. So you need people, and you may not connect with people in one area or another, but you might find that that third area, that first area, that second area, you really do connect with people. So I'm working on 3 different things, technically 4, but the 4th one is kind of in the same area as the 3rd one, and some of them I'm looking at as hobbies, but I feel like they may really actually do well. So I look at them as business ventures / hobbies, because some things require more intense effort and work than others. For instance, me writing a book, for me, that is fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy writing my book. I enjoy the story that I'm writing, and I can't wait to be able to publish it and put it out there for everyone. Now, the time it takes to put pen to paper, that's extremely time consuming. But like I said, I enjoy it. My agribusiness, I love agriculture, but agriculture is not something that happens overnight. The nature of the business, growing plants, is not something that happens overnight, and usually requires a lot of startup time, research and development, especially if you're venturing into risque agricultural industries or crops like hemp, that requires a lot of licenses and stuff like that. But if you really feel confident in yourself, hold on one second. Thanks for tuning in. What can I get for you? Can I get a dozen, 8 of them regular glazed? Can I get a dozen? 8 of them regular glazed and the rest chocolate glazed?
So you want egg glaze? Wait, you said egg glaze and a spoiled chocolate?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am?
Chocolate glaze. Yes, ma'am.
So 8 original glaze and 4 chocolate, right?
Chocolate glaze. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am?
Chocolate glaze. Yes, ma'am.
So eight glaze.
Uh huh. And
And
four
the rest
chocolate
for
glaze.
chocolate. Okay, what else?
That's it.
13, 18.
Thank you. Woo. Okay. Was I making that difficult? Anyway, so yeah. What was I? Yeah. So hemp is one of the things that I wanted to venture into, and the other three crops that I'm going to grow are some three things. One of them is not very difficult to grow, but I just want to make sure that I grow the correct variety for my area and environment that has the best taste to it, because I'm going to manufacture or create value added products from it, whether it be a peel, because it's technically a superfood or considered a superfood, whether it be a pill or a popsicle or something that I could sell. I have to make sure I have to make sure I know who my niche is, my market niche is, who my market is, who I'm targeting when I manufacture the value added products. And it goes for the second crop I plan to grow, and the other crop I plan to grow. I already know who my market will be, so I'm just trying to determine what variety of that particular plant I'm going to grow based upon what's most popular in my area. And what I find out about that particular crop or plant, really fungus, is that there's a variety that's more popular in my area, because what I'm doing is I'm contacting restaurants to see what type of what I'm growing they use mostly in their dishes, and they tell me I'm getting mostly the same response. But when I looked up some information, because research is very important when you're doing almost anything, but especially when you're working with crops and agriculture, I realized that the other one that I was originally planning to grow, the other variety of that particular plant, it's not really a plant, but the other, we'll call it a plant for this video's sake. Um, it 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 actually costs more by the pound, so that makes sense why they would be using the other one. So I have to make a decision. Do I want to grow the one that is most popular because it's cheaper, market value wise, or do I want to grow the original one that I get more for by the pound? And also, I would assume that it's less competition too for the one that people aren't using as much of. But who would I sell it to? So there's a farm that grows this particular plant that I'm going to go talk to and ask them exactly what are they doing with that plant, and try to ask them who they're selling to, because at that point they may be, if I ask those kind of questions in that way, they may be looking at me as competition too. And some people are not as open whenever they realize you might be their competition, which I can understand. So that's where I stand, and I plan on giving you guys some more information about that. One second again. Hello, how are you?
Hey, you have one assorted box?
Yes, ma'am.
13, 18.
Thank you. Krispy Kreme. Yeah, so you just have to be smart when it comes to business. You have to make the right decisions, the right business decisions. And I plan on, providing more information, especially about the agriculture. I want to talk to you guys more about agriculture. Thank you. That's my profession. Agriculture is my profession. Thank you so much. You too. Agriculture is my profession. That's one of my I guess you could say, one of my talents and one of my passions. And I really enjoy it. So I did some landscaping, but for me, landscaping, I have a potential partner that does landscaping, but I think what I'm going to do is, he wants me to partner with him, but I think what I'm going to do is we're going to partner together, but I think I would prefer to create more of a dynamic partnership where he does the landscaping side and I do the agribusiness side. And we pool our resources together, money, tools, all of that, and we split it based upon percentage that's brought in to the partnership. But we'll figure out the details of that particular partnership and how it's going to work out. We want to make sure that it's fair and that that it works for both of us, right? Nobody wants to screw anybody over. So, and like I said, I'll be bringing more information to you guys. I'm in the process of constructing kind of like a makeshift greenhouse. I'll have more information about that, and actually, I'll show you guys how I construct it at the end of this month. And I can't wait to do that. And once I actually get some of these crops going, I can't wait to show you that. Like I said, I'm still very much in the R&D phase of this business. The book is coming along very well. I've already created basically an outline for it that I've made it so that all I have to do is really plug the information. I have the story in my head. I just have to take that information from my head and put it on paper in a manner that, reads as a sophisticatedly written book, and that's where I am with that. And then I am on my YouTube channel. I'm hoping you guys subscribe. I'm definitely going to have interviews from other business people who are going to share their life stories and how they got to where they are. These are people that have their own businesses, provide their own services, and are doing well enough where they don't have to work. They don't have to work a 9 to 5, which, it's admirable. And I definitely want to. It's not that I have anything against Caucasian people or white people. I don't at all. I may end up married to one. Who knows? So I have nothing against them. It's just that with African American people, we've had a lot of obstacles. We've had a lot of things that we've had to overcome. Some of us more than others. I just happen to come from a family that the generation before me was able to overcome a lot of those obstacles. So now I'm overcoming some of the obstacles that they did not overcome, and hopefully my children will do the same. But it's just that you don't see a lot of black entrepreneurs in comparison to other races, especially Caucasians. And I just want to show black kids that can be them, whether it be a professional, because I'm definitely going to plan on not just entrepreneurs, but doctors, lawyers, politicians, people from all walks of life working in industries that have a lot of influence in the world that are my color or African American, because you don't see it too often. And it's important that our kids see that. Very important. That's how you make change. You make change by showing change. Not by talking about it, but by showing it. And so that's what I plan to do. I love white people because based on my channel, it may seem like I have something against Caucasian people, Europeans, white people, whatever name you want to use to refer to white people. They call us black people, I call them white people. People say they don't see color. I see color. I'm going to tell you why I see color. Because I see beauty in everything. The combination of a black, chocolate, melanin woman or man, and beautiful brown eyes, and the beautiful, dreads or whatever, or a white man with beautiful blonde hair, sandy blonde hair, and crystal blue. I see beauty in all of that. That's the point. And beyond just outside beauty, which is not the most important thing at all, I see beauty in who and what a person is, and their kindness, and their culture, what they eat, what they listen to. I love experiencing different things and meeting new and different people, but my primary focus and goal is to uplift my people because we need it. That's why, because we need it. So I just wanted to share a quick little video with you guys. I hadn't originally started this to upload it to YouTube, but I figured why not. I just wanted to share with you guys basically what my plans are for this channel, why this channel exists, and what my goals are and what they aren't. So I love everybody. Look forward to more videos. And again, I'm going to share some fun things too. Right now we're living in a society where COVID is playing a major role in our activities and what we do. And so I can't go rock climbing or as easily, or go to the beach or whatever, like I could have done a couple months ago, and show you guys a good fun times. So, but that will be coming out once this whole prayerfully blows over. I definitely will be doing that and showing you guys that I don't need to go straight. I got everything I need. Normally I go straight. You have no idea where I am, but where I am right now, normally I go straight if I need to get something, because that's where all the businesses are. Walmart, McDonald's, whatever. The way I'm going right now home, it doesn't have nearly as many businesses, unless you keep going beyond the point where I normally turn to go home. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in again. Love you all. I'll have a lot of things coming to you. Like I said, I also will have a video. I plan to have a video where I'll have two Caucasian, European, white guys talking about the differences, or one talking about the differences between dating an African American woman or a black woman and dating a white woman. So there's going to be some fun things coming up, and these are real topics. These are real topics, interesting topics. I could have easily have also been a psychologist, because I love people, and I enjoy understanding people, if that makes sense, and how they think, what they think, why they think it, why they do the things they do. That's something I enjoy, for some reason. So it's not me being nosy or me being messy. I'm legit am interested and curious about how. That's just one thing, how a Caucasian guy feels about dating an African American woman compared to a Caucasian woman, if there are any differences whatsoever. Surely there are, and it may not. It's probably not. I'm certain it's not just dependent upon their color. Surely it's also about where they're from. Like, if a Caucasian guy dated me, who comes from a family that essentially, even though I'm from the country, I may as well have been from the suburbs. My mom and dad just moved us out to the country to get away from where we originally were living until I was like 2 or 3. My brother was barely 1, which was in the inner city, and there was a lot of crime in that area, and she wanted to get us out of there stat, and that's what she did, her and my dad. But they didn't. They chose to move out to the country where they had some land, open land, because that's just the kind of woman she is. She likes it. She loves being on open land where she can farm and she can garden and all of that good stuff. Like, living right up on someone is not her thing. And my dad is really kind of an indifferent kind of person, but she definitely is a Leo, and she literally is a Leo. No, I'm not really a person that believes in astrology, but for those that do believe in it, I have to admit everything about Leos that defines who she is, characteristically and personality wise. She is definitely an alpha type woman. Daddy, I respect him because he's my dad. I love him. He's quiet, non-confrontational. If I had to label my dad, and it's not to be disrespectful, I'm all about logic, facts, reasoning, and there's nothing wrong with being a beta. It takes all types of people for this world to run, right? It takes alpha, it takes betas, even takes omegas, you know. But I would never suggest someone being a beta is fine, you know. I have beta-ish tendencies. I have alpha tendencies. I also have beta-ish tendencies. And what I mean by that is that, let's see, how would I explain that? I have a leadership mentality because of whom I grew up around and what I knew. I had information, I had resources, so I often was chosen to be the leader even though I didn't want to be the leader, if that makes sense. Like, if I could get out of leading, I would, but leadership was oftentimes forced upon me because of what I know and what I had growing up, and that has just sort of that's kind of like spilled over into my adult life. And I'm ambitious and driven, but I also can be very antisocial, you know. So that's what I mean. I can be antisocial. I can be very social in certain settings, and then I can be antisocial. So I go back and forth. So that's what I mean by I'm alpha-ish and beta-ish. If I had to pick one or the other, I would pick, and not because it's me, but if I had to pick one or the other, I would say I'm more of an alpha. Now, I will say this: when true alphas through and through come around, that's when the beta in me comes out sometimes. And and I don't know if that's being a beta. Like, for instance, if you have a boss that is a super alpha, like super duper alpha, who's very much dictatory like, then that's when the beta in me sometimes comes out. I just tend to take a back seat and say to hell with it. Just follow this person lead. They're the boss. They're my supervisor. If they say I'm fired, I'm fired. So I'll go back into my shell and just be like, okay, cool, whatever you want. So I guess that in a way is a beta. Like, an alpha, a true alpha, a real alpha wouldn't accept that. Like, they can't. They're just not able to. Like, I've seen it, you know. I've seen like a real alpha, even though they're not in the supervisory position, go back at a supervisor that is also a true alpha, you know. And I tend to just like back off for the time being. I'm more strategic, you know, and respectful. You know, if it's a supervisor that's been there for a long time and they've done a lot of great things, then I'm the type of person, if a supervisor tells me no or has an attitude with me or whatever, I'll walk off, you know. Cool. You know, walk off, go to my office. I don't catch an attitude back with them. I don't disrespect them. You know, I just walk off, go to my office, see you another day about it. You know? Or later on that day, when you are a different person. I remember in my previous job, there was this super, I mean, you can't tell me this lady wasn't, and I'm not the type of person that, there's some people say that will label a person a racist immediately without really having a whole lot of facts or information to be able to label that person and that a racist, because that's a strong, that is a very, very strong accusation in my opinion, to label someone a racist. So I'm careful with that. I remember when I started my last job, the job I had before my current one, I was warned about this individual and that she was a racist. And I said, I will decide that. I appreciate, I have a lot of respect for the person that told me. The other person I didn't know that well, because two people told me. The other person I didn't know that well, but the one of the people that told me that I had a lot of respect for him, and I knew them to be pretty good judges of character, or a pretty good judge of character. So, but I really didn't want to go. I know they were just trying to look out for me so that I wasn't blindsided or didn't, because I can oftentimes, sometimes I give people the benefit of the doubt a little bit too much, and they knew that about me. So they just wanted to let me know off bat, this is a racist white woman. So when I met her the first time, she was cold as ice. Not very, very, not anything close to welcoming at all. And I know some people can just be like that in general, so I said, well, even though this guy whom I trust and I respect, I know to have to be a pretty good judge of character, even though he's told me that this lady is racist, and on top of that, she has given me a very cold welcome to this new job, where I'll be working with her pretty closely. I still gave her the benefit of the doubt. I said, cool, maybe that's who she is. She might just be a cold, yeah. I'm not going to be using cuss words too often on this channel anymore, because I want this channel to be kid friendly. And the reason why I want it to be kid friendly is because I want children to be able to access this channel and be able to draw motivation and inspiration from it. Okay, so there will be some words that fly out from time to time, and I'm not going to, if it's one or two, I'm not going to bleep them. And I don't expect it to be more than that moving forward, because in my past videos, if you look at them, I've let a lot of cuss words fly. But moving forward, I'm going to be much more mindful of that. But yeah, so it didn't take me very long to realize that this woman was definitely racist. I could tell by the way she acted with Caucasian people and the way she acted with black people. And she's no longer a part of my life, so we'll just leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that. I won't even say where she works, because the place she works at is known for having a past history of having people work there that come from racist environments, prisons. So, and we'll just leave it at that. But yeah, this woman definitely has issues with black people. Is she a stone cold racist? Who cares? She's a racist. I don't even want to classify it anymore. I don't want to classify, she's a soft racist, she's a hard racist. Fuck that. Forget that. Excuse me. Forget that. She's a racist. Period. Point blank. So, but I held my ground against her. And it's partially, or a big reason why I no longer work there. And the African Americans in the higher positions that work there are just God help them. I'll just put it that way. God help them. They just, God help them. I'll just leave it at that. But I wasn't giving in to that lady. That lady would do things and just, there were certain things that others before me were allowed to get away with, unless I was, never mind. Anyway, so this channel will be about inspiring, motivating, and having fun. Interviewing people, getting into people's minds, really digging into how people think and feel from all walks and aspects of life. I'm going to talk to zoologists. I mean, because listen, I looked up. This is the type of things I think about. I looked up, can a snake envenomate itself? You know, the evolution of venom. Like, how did snakes develop venom or evolve venom? You know, these are things I think about. They're interesting to me. You know, we're talking to other agriculturalists and people that work in aquatics, marine biologists. You know, talk to them about how pesticides and fertilizers, man-made fertilizers, are affecting aquatic life. You know, talk about how manure, depending on the source of it, may be, it's not as bad as man-made fertilizers, but may not be the best thing for your crops, right? I mean, think about it this way. What's in your manure? And I don't mean to get disgusting, but if you eat McDonald's, if you eat Burger King, if you drink sodas all day, do you think your manure is the healthiest manure in the world? So, depending on what a farmer or a company, a big company, is feeding its chickens or its horses or its cows, how healthy is that manure for your soil and therefore your plants? Your manure is as healthy as what essentially made it is. You know? And although this takes time, the healthiest thing for your crops and soil is compost. The healthiest thing for your crops and soil or other crops and soil that have not been digested. Because when an animal ingests and then digests any type of food, it's going to utilize all of the most essential and important minerals, or as much of it as possible, before it not regurgitates, but before it excretes it. You know, before it lets it out, before it releases it, as that's its waste. You know, it's waste. Manure is waste. Manure is everything that's left over that was not utilized or could not be utilized by the animal that digested whatever food or foods it digested. It was digesting, ingesting, and then digesting. So just keep that in mind whenever you're fertilizing your crops. So I know compost is not something that's made overnight, you know, and just remember that the hardier the compost material, the longer it's going to take for it to break down and become organic matter that you can then repurpose into the soil. So if you are growing hibiscus, whatever leaves you don't use, like the yellowing leaves, the leaves that are the least tasty or not as tender or whatever, or of using the calyx or the calyx, the flowering part of the plant. I think. Don't quote me on that. Because a lot of people use every vegetative part of the plant, and some of the woodier parts, or woody parts, especially those that are the most tender, like the small little branches that are still almost greenish stems. Yeah, but just remember, the more woody, the more difficult, or the longer it's going to take before it's something that you can use to repurpose back into the soil before it breaks back down. Just remember that as well. But we're going to talk in depth about all of these things on this channel. This channel is going to be about agriculture, culture, as in people's culture. It's going to be about race, politics, talking about relationships, raising your kids, wanting kids, not wanting kids. We're going to be doing fun things, going to the beach, interviewing people for fun, talking to people for fun, just enjoying life, learning more about life, all of those things. So subscribe to this channel, because this channel is just going to be an evolution of learning about a little bit of everything. Subscribe. You will not regret subscribing to this channel. Peace and love, people.